So the last part of our unit here is finding a terminal point on the circle by each real number t. Okay, t is, they could have used any letter. T just refers to a spot on the circle, and anytime I see pi, that means you have a radian value. And we're going to talk about radians more, but that just means on the unit circle. So where am I at on the unit circle? So a couple details is, if you're looking for a terminal point, don't worry about the word terminal, but the word point means I'm finding an x and y value. I'm finding a coordinate, okay? A couple of the basic ideas. If the value that is given to you is positive, all right, you are going to start going up in your movement. You're going to start in a counter clockwise. Okay, so this first one will be, we're going to start going up. All right, if it is a negative radian value, you're going to start your move down, which, if you think about this as a clock, is clockwise. Okay, so positive, I like to think of it as going up. The counterclockwise, clockwise doesn't really work for me. And if it's negative, I think going down. All right, so the first unit we have here is 3 pi. So what is the terminal point if you travel 3 pi around the circle? Okay, so we have our plate, we have our unit circle. We start here, we always start at 0, and we go up. So if we travel around and follow my cursor, I travel up, there's 1 pi. I travel around again, I keep going, that's 2 pi. I travel, I keep going up, that's 3 pi. Okay, so 1 pi is over here, 3 pi is also over here. Really, anytime you see an odd whole number, okay, it's going to be over here on this side. We established this point with our plate and talking about the unit circle, and we think this is a radii. It's a radius of the unit circle. I go straight to the left. Well, think, if I go straight to the left, that is the coordinate left 1, because that's the radius, 0. Okay, so where's the location? What is the terminal point? It's -1, 0. If I'm thinking the same way and I see a negative pi, well, I could put a 1 in front of that. That too is odd. Okay, I still start at 0 and I go down. All right, so if I go down, which is clockwise, I'm traveling pi. Pi is half a circle. Okay, pi, and maybe we'll put a note there, half a circle. So if I travel from 0 down half a circle, okay, I still end up in the same location. That's half the circle on the bottom. I still end up at the same terminal point, -1, 0. When I'm working with pi over 2 or I'm working with negative pi over 4, there's a couple different ways to think of this. I can think of this as a distance traveled, or anytime I see a negative, I can do a reflection. And more specifically, I can do a reflection over the x-axis if it's negative. Okay, now a radian is always a distance, so let me show you the non-reflection way first. If I'm going negative pi over 2, okay, so it's a pi over 2 distance. Pi over 2 is a fourth of a circle, okay, and I'm going to travel down a quarter of a circle. All right, well, that ends you up right here. If I put that as a point, that would be the point 0, -1. Okay, so I end up on the bottom of the unit circle, and as 0 as an x value, I go down -1. If I think of it as the reflection way, I have negative pi over 2. Well, here's how I can do this. I can go to the positive pi over 2, which is up top, and then reflect it across the x-axis, and I end up on the bottom. Okay, that will always work, no matter what. It's always over the x-axis. If I'm working with negative pi over 4. Again, it's the same idea. Pi over 4. I start at 0. I'm going to travel down pi over 4. That takes me to here. Well, that's quadrant 4. Okay. That means I'm working with radical 2 over 2, comma radical 2 over 2. In quadrant 4, the y value is negative, and that's it. The x value is positive. So that's going to be my terminal point. Positive radical 2 over 2, negative radical 2 over 2. I can also get there the reflection way if I go up to the positive version of pi over 4, and then I reflect straight across, straight down to the x-axis. Okay, across the x-axis, excuse me, it takes me there. Radical 2 over 2, negative radical 2. There's a terminal point. All right. If I'm working, again, let's keep moving. I'm going to go to E. I'm working with negative 5 pi over 3. Again, it's a distance. Now, that's awful close, okay, to 2 pi. That's awful close to an entire wave down around a circle. All right. Your pi's over 3's. Remember, your pi's over 3's are closer to the extreme top and extreme bottom. All right, so I'm going to be working with, let me put these in pink here. The pi's over 3's, all right, are at the extreme top or the extreme bottom. So those are going to be working with, right? So if it's negative, again, I start at 0, and I'm going to go down. I've got to go pretty much to almost 2 pi. So I'm going to be taken to this last pink dot. Okay. Notice I went down first. I went clockwise first. This coordinate here is positive 1/2. Positive radical 3 over 2. There's a terminal point. The reflection way to think about it, go to the positive version of negative 5 pi over 3. That takes me to the bottom pink dot right here, and then reflect over the x-axis. Takes me to the same spot. 1/2 radical 3 over 2. Okay. Letter F, a lot easier because it is already positive. I'm just worried about the unit circle. 4 pi over 3. 4 pi over 3 is on a unit circle. I start at 0. I move up in the counterclockwise position. I go all the way around. I look at my plate or my unit circle. It takes me to here. It is in quadrant 3. Quadrant 3 has all negatives, a negative x value and negative y value. It is the same point, the same coordinate as letter E. It is still going to be 1/2 radical 3 over 2. Okay? But since it is in quadrant 3, they're both going to be negative. Right? So please practice this. There is a brief assignment on the bottom here, and please come with any questions. If you have, please come with any questions. This skill is a skill we'll be using the entire first semester, pretty much up until winter break. So if you have any questions, now is the time to ask. Please come to conferences for these questions to take care of any gaps that you may have. Thank you and good luck.